Blood trickled from the rawhide straps binding her wrists, staining the dusty Texas soil under the old cottonwood tree. Jack Harlan had witnessed his share of brutality in his 48 years, from the chaos of the Civil War trenches to the ruthless cattle, rustling wars, and barroom knife fights. But nothing hit him like the sight of this Comanche woman, battered and abandoned near Red River, her breath coming in ragged whispers. Her raven hair cascaded over sun-kissed shoulders, and even in her fading state, she radiated the untamed spirit of a wild stallion, fierce, unyielding. The wise move would be to mount up and ride off. Messing with tribal affairs in the Texas Panhandle was a death sentence, especially with Comanche raids still fresh in folks' memories after the Red River War. Yet as he crouched beside her, pressing fingers to her warm neck for a pulse, Jack knew he was about to shatter every unwritten law of the frontier. Because sometimes a man's got to pick between what's safe and what's decent. Would you walk away from someone dying, or risk it all to pull them back from the edge? In October 1882, the Lazy J Ranch sprawled 40 miles from Amarillo, where the high plains rolled out endlessly under a sky that swallowed you whole, making you feel alive and insignificant all at once. Jack had picked this remote spot after laying his wife, Emily, and their young son to rest 2 years back, victims of a yellow fever outbreak that tore through the territory like a prairie fire. Out here, the only company was the howl of coyotes and the bellows of his 300 longhorns. It let him bury the emptiness in work, pretending the knot in his gut was just the thin air, not the void where his family used to be. He was mending a fence along the riverbank when he spotted Hera's vivid contrast against the ochre dirt. His mare, Storm, pawed nervously, sensing trouble. Jack drew his Henry rifle and crept closer on foot. She was slumped under the ancient tree, hands lashed tight, her fringed deerskin dress shredded and crusted with blood. Comanche, no doubt, from the intricate quill work and copper armbands glinting in the sun. Someone had lashed her viciously with a whip, raising ugly stripes across her back and legs. But it was her face that froze him. Even marred by pain, she was stunning sharp features, plump lips cracked from dehydration, skin like burnished oak. She looked no older than 24. Jack had picked up scraps of Comanche tongue during his scouting days, enough to catch the faint scent of mesquite smoke on her ritual herbs for cleansing. This wasn't random. It was punishment from her own people. His mind raced through the risks. Comanche bands still hit ranches hard, and the army was on a hair trigger after adobe walls. Getting mixed up could end them both. Still, as he watched her fight for air, Emily's words echoed in his head. A man's worth ain't in what he says in church. Jack, it's in what he does when the world's turned away. Damn it all, he grumbled, slinging the rifle and slicing the bonds with his Bowie knife, mindful of her raw flesh. Lifting her, he was struck by her lightness, how she molded against him like she belonged. Her eyes flickered open deep hazel, blazing with defiance, even in weakness, and something deep inside him stirred awake. "Easy there," he murmured. "You're all right now." She tried to shove him off, but collapsed, too weak. The ride home was pure torment. Her limp form pressed close, curves shifting with every trot, her scent of smoke and wildflowers filling his senses. It had been 2 years since he'd held anyone, and his body betrayed him with unwanted heat, shame burning hotter than the sun. By dusk, they reached his sturdy cabin, 2 rooms, an adobe fireplace, shelves of faded books Emily had hauled for back east. He placed her on his bed, boiled water, and fetched linens for her wounds. As he sponged the grime from her back, he fought to ignore the graceful arch of her spine, the subtle rise of her breath under silken skin. Suddenly, she bolted awake, a hidden blade flashing in her grip. "Back off!" Her English was clipped but strong. Jack raised his palms, rag dripping. "Whoa, I ain't hurting you." "You are white eyes," she spat, eyes like storm clouds. "You claim everything you see. I saw you dying out there. Now you're not. We can sort the rest later." She eyed him warily, knife unwavering despite her tremors. Something in his steady gaze made her lower it a fraction. "Why?" she whispered. "Because walking away would have made me hate the man in the mirror." They locked eyes in the flickering lantern light. Her beauty hit harder up close angular cheeks, inviting mouth, eyes holding ancient stories. Her dress had slipped, exposing the curve of her breast, and Jack averted his gaze. "I'm Kira," she said at last, "like the dawn light. But they stripped me of it, said I shamed it. What did you do to earn that beating?" Jack asked, easing into a chair. Her laugh was sharp. "I wouldn't wed the chief's son. He has 3 wives already and treats them like dogs." I said no. Jack's jaw tightened. Here was a kindred spirit punished for standing tall. "Well, in my home, a woman's word is law. Call yourself what you like." "Sienna," she decided. "From the traders. It means strength." "Sienna, it is." He nodded at the basin. "Let me tend those cuts. They'll turn bad otherwise." This time she allowed it. His rough hands were tender, tracing salve over welts, ignoring her shivers at his touch, the soft intake when he hit a sore spot. "You've doctored before," she noted. "Soldiering teaches a lotsome about mending, not just breaking." As he worked, she scanned his face, the crinkles around blue eyes, silver in his sandy hair, the quiet assurance. This wasn't the savage white man she'd been warned of. There was gentleness and grief mirroring hers. "You had a woman," Sienna observed, noting the quilt's feminine stitches, a vase of dried blooms. "Where?" Jack paused. "Buried out back with our boy. Fever took him 2 winters ago. I sorrow for you." She heard the raw ache, saw his slump. "That's why you hide alone." Seemed easier. Can't break what's already gone. Without thought, Sienna touched his jaw. The contact jolted them, but neither recoiled. Sometimes, the walls we build trap us worse. In the weeks after, Sienna showed her metal riding herd like she'd been born in the saddle, brewing poultices from desert plants, tracking deer over barren flats. Pride fueled her. Once mobile, she demanded chores, fixing harnesses with bead patterns that elevated leather to beauty. "You owe me nothing," Jack said one dawn, watching her weave. "I owe me," she replied. "No more depending on any man." But it was the quiet times that unraveled him. Her humming Comanche tunes while churning butter, tightening his throat, standing at sunset, wind hugging her dress to her hips and thighs as the sky blazed orange. The fluid poise in her stride, the way she twisted her ebony hair into braids. A month in, she caught his stare as she pinned wash. Their gazes sparked, admitting the pull they'd denied. That night, over venison stew flavored with juniper she'd foraged, she asked, "Tell me of her your Emily." Jack set his fork. "Why?" "She lingers here in how you stack wood brew coffee. She was light itself, saw good in the darkest hearts. Would have admired you said fire and heart go hand in hand." Sienna sipped, eyes on him. "And you? See heart in me?" The question smoldered. Jack met her gaze. A survivor who'd chosen mercy over bitterness, who could tame a bucking bronco with murmurs or fell a coyote with a stone. "I see someone who builds instead of burns, despite every reason to rage." Sienna stood by the hearth, fire gilding her form. She unpinned her hair, letting it fall like midnight silk, a sacred act in her culture, shared only with a mate. "Among my kin, a woman's hair is her essence, seen unbound by her chosen alone." She turned, hazel eyes bold. "But I'm kin no more. You've taught me honor." The air thickened with tension. Jack rose, every fiber attuned to her warmth, the pulse at her neck. "Sienna." His voice is gravelly. She closed the gap, sent intoxicating. "You want me gone, Jack Harlan?" "Hell no." But honor held him. "I won't exploit." Her finger hushed him. "What if I claim you?" Her kiss started gently, exploratory, but ignited when he groaned, drawing her in. They consumed each other, hands exploring his inner hair, hers on his chest, hunger from years of isolation erupting. Sienna, he breathed against her skin. Sure. Instead of words, she unbuttoned his shirt, lips trailing fire over his heart. Control snapped. He carried her to bed, laying her reverently. What followed was raw and tender loneliness dissolving in shared rhythm, her bold and yielding, teaching passion as holy. After, entwined in sheets, he whispered, "Didn't think I could feel again." She gazed up. Nor I. But risks birth wonders. A month of stolen joy shattered with approaching hoofbeats and shod ponies. Sienna stiffened mid-fence repair. Comanche. Jack spotted 7 riders on the ridge, war-painted, armed with bows and Winchesters. Leading was an elder, posture commanding sorrow. "My uncle, Torek," she murmured. "Clan elder." They halted at the boundary, a gesture of restraint. Torek advanced. "I seek the one called Kira." Sienna stepped up, reclaiming her warrior poise, but stayed by Jacka, clear alliance. "I'm here, uncle." Torek's face etched disappointment. "You betray us, niece. This outsider poisons your blood. He's shown me choice. For once I'm free." "Free?" Torek barked. "You swap kin, heritage, ancestors for his bed. His kind slaughtered your mother at Palo Duro." The barb stung, but Sienna stood firm. "Mother fought for our right to paths unbound. I honor her by mine." Jack interjected respectfully. "Sir, your kin arrived dying. I offered aid, no more demanded. Yet you bed her, twist her from us." "I love her," Jack declared. "She stays by will." Torek scrutinized them. "Love? White eyes know greed, not sacrifice. Come home, child, the elders relent. Wed Kale as decreed. He'll spare the rod if you submit." Sienna paled. "Kale strangled his second wife, uncle." "Oh no. She was frail, your iron. Endure." "Enduring ain't living." Her voice rose. "I've tasted the gap." Torek's eyes iced. "Then exile you die to us." He dismounted, knife drawn not for harm, but right, severing a tress of her hair to earth. "My sister's child is gone. This shadow means naught." The cut wounded deeper than lashes, but Sienna held her gaze. Yet Torek added, "If this white eye proves worthy, values his claim. Perhaps the lost one bridges realms." "Ow!" Jack pressed. "Duel at dawn, you versus our mightiest. Win, we honor your bond, depart. Lose, she faces justice, you perish. Refuse, we claim her now, and you as a thief." Jack glanced at Sienna, her eyes pleading that he fleetfeed shared mere weeks. But seeing her fire, the light she'd reignited, choice crystallized. "Dawn." That night, she begged for escape. "You don't grasp for and slew 9 in challenges. Then 10. Jack oiled his peacemaker. "This ain't funny." She gripped him. "I'm not worth your grave." He cradled her face. "You're worth the world." Their lovemaking was frantic, tears mingling as she moved above him, etching memories. Dawn broke chill, fog veiling Red River like spirits. Comanches ringed the sight per custom. Vorin loomed towering, scarred, eyes void of pity wielding a spiked tomahawk. Bare hands Torek decreed, till yield or death, heart's weapons alone. Jack bared his torso, weathered against Vorin's bronze. Older, slighter, but ranch-hardened, eyes steely from loss. The clash erupted savagely. Vorin charged like a bull. Tomahawk no, weight hands only. Weight per terms, hand to hand. Vorin lunged, fists like hammers. Jack dodged, countering with a gut punch, cracking ribs. Vorin roared, swinging wild, clipping Jack's arm, drawing blood. Sienna's cry pierced. Jack faltered but surged elbow to throat, hooks to jaw, crosses snapping head. Fists flew till both bled rivers, knuckles pulp, breaths labored. Youth fueled Vorin, but Jack's scars birthed cunning. When Vorin knelt, gasping, Jack loomed. "Yield." Vorin eyed his elder, then foe. "I yield." 8 months on, Sienna stood on the porch, hand on her swelling belly, watching Jack herd steers across greening plains. The babe kicked like a Mustang due to the rain. She wore gingham now, hair in a simple knot, but copper bands gleamed bridging worlds, finding home. Torek upheld peace, though distant silhouettes watched. Kin lingered watchful. Storm neared. Jack dismounted, lithe, arms encircling her. "How are my ladies?" He nuzzled. "Fine." She laughed, melting into him. "This one's a fighter like Pa, or warrior Ma." Silence wrapped them, sun dipping fiery. "Regrets leaving?" he asked. She turned, loving his lined face. "How regret home?" In the vast Texas expanse, ghosts faded. Jack Harlan and Sienna had love, future's vow, freedom's script. What do you think about Sienna's choice to defy her tribe for love? Was it brave or selfish? Share your stance in the comments below. I'd love to hear your views and where you're tuning in from.